this is what you desire, not because you're flipping through magazines. They're like, oh, I want this. Oh, and I want that. It's like, no. It has to be started up here first. Then you find the evidence and the pictures and things of that nature to support that vision. Not as you flip it, oh, this seems like a good idea. I'll take this and I'll take that. No. What is it that you want first? All right. Welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, AZ Araujo, and I got to tell you, it's been a week of reflection. It's been a week of appreciation. It's been a week of new visions being painted in my mind, new stories being written out in detail. And I love this whole experience that I'm going through of realizing that whatever I visualize, I will create inevitably. Whatever I put my mind to, I will create inevitably. And you know, one of the biggest discouraging moments for me was when I had a plan and didn't achieve it in the time frame that I set out to achieve. And I realize now that, you know, the timing is never something that I can fully take responsibility for, right? I just have to do the right things on a daily basis. Because in order to learn the lessons, in order to improve my skill sets, I have to sometimes take a few steps back, or what appears to take a few steps back, but really is to develop my capacity to be able to take on the next level of life, the next level of business in my marriage as a parent. And that can be very discouraging for many if the vision is not clear, if the vision is not something you feel in your heart and soul, if it's not something that's running on your mind on a consistent basis. And this is something that I've learned to just continue to take the time on a daily basis to envision it, to feel it, to already, you know, use all my five senses, like learn how to taste it, right? Smell it, feel it. What else do we got as the five senses? Hear it, right? And I know I'm missing another one. If you could help me out here, I would appreciate that. But these are the things that I learned to do on a consistent basis, just so that it reinforces those feelings, that it reinforces the touch. There we go. The touch, right, was the one that was missing. And, you know, one of the things that I always reflect on is, you know, when we did the grand opening here at our HQ, you know, there was a lot of excitement from everyone that joined us. And, you know, someone asked me, hey, how come you're not happy? How come you're not, you know, overly excited yourself? Because for me, it was just like another day. And, you know, I just simply mentioned to them, I've been here 1,000 times. I knew what it was going to feel like. I knew how it was going to smell. I knew how I was going to, you know, walk through the hallways of the office. And I was already here 1,000 times. And yet I created it because it was a big part of my thought process. And, you know, for us, I think that it's important that we set the vision, but not only have that vision, right? Because if we don't support that with tangible actions, then it's just a dream. Then it's just a hope. It's something that, you know, it may happen or it may not. Like when you have a vision, it's because it's going to become that reality. It's only a matter of time. But it's not just manifesting, right? Just the thought process of it, but putting yourself in a position where you're depositing towards that vision on a daily basis. Like really taking the appropriate actions, which means you have to develop certain things about yourself, about how you view yourself, and shattering stories of what you're capable of. And I think that, again, that's one of the toughest parts there as well, is to like break down the stories of what we think is a possibility. But every time you take a step forward, you start eroding that story of what is possible and creating a new one of what is possible. And it's one of these things where now I've had this conversation so many times with Carla, like, man, it's insane that everything that we've tried to put together in our lives has come into fruition. And now we understand that it's just a matter of time. If we truly think it and believe it, and we have the faith to continue to move forward towards it, regardless of the obstacles, regardless of the challenges. It's only a matter of time, but I better be walking the walk and talking the talk. I just can't sit there and, again, just think about these things and not back it up. I understand that with the new level of success requires a new level of responsibility, which means more work, more effort. It doesn't come, effortless. It doesn't mean that it's going to now, allow me time to relax and take my ease. No, I'm stepping into the promise of something much greater. And if you think it and you support it and you live it and you continue to reinforce it, then it's a promise that has been made. But these things require your effort into truly visualizing what you desire. One of the things that I've had, and it looks like I forgot my phone in my office, but one of the things that I have is, I did and I have my own opinions on vision boards, right? And I think vision boards are good, not just as an exercise, but it's good if you really believe you're going to achieve those things, right? It's not just an exercise of cutting out magazine. Thank you so much for that. Going through magazines, which are harder and harder to come by, right? Or simply, going online and just, picking out certain pictures of what you want. But it's truly understanding of what that level of success is going to bring. Like, are you prepared for that? Are you prepared to take on the additional responsibilities that come with it? Are you prepared for the long hours, the early mornings, the late nights? Are you truly prepared for that? Are you prepared to take on these battles head on? Are you prepared? Do you have the capacity to take that on without breaking down? Do you have the energy, the vitality? Are you doing the right things for your body, for your marriage, for your family? Are you doing these things? Because it's going to require all these things to get to that next level of success. Otherwise, if you do achieve it, you won't be able to sustain it. Otherwise, it won't even be something you're able to achieve. It's got to be this well-rounded game plan that who you are today must develop in all aspects of yourself. You can't take the same type of approach you are right now to get to another level. It just doesn't make sense. It requires more from you, more commitment, more discipline. Are you prepared for that? And I know that we all have these big desires of something much greater, but I think we fail to see what it's going to take. And failing to see what it's going to take is what oftentimes knocks people off the path of actually achieving it. Because they don't consider that part. They only see all the upside of it. They see all the benefits of it. But they don't realize that with every upside, there's a downside. There's a challenge you have to overcome. And if we're not able to visualize that as well, and then visualize how you're going to overcome that, then that vision will never truly come into fruition. My goals are big. And I know I have to develop myself as a leader, as a communicator. I have to develop myself as a husband, as a father. I have to get more fine-tuned with what I do to challenge my mind and my thoughts and my body. What I've done thus far is not good enough to get to that next level that I want to get to. And I know sometimes it seems hard because what we do and what we preach around here is to work on all things. It's never just about sales. And trust me, it seems like some people around you, even colleagues with different companies or across the nation, because now we have access to all that, right? We have access to everyone's life on social media. It appears that they're moving much faster than what you're doing. And listen, I was in that space for many, many years where I would see my own colleagues, the people around me just shooting past me, growing their enterprises much bigger and better than what I thought mine was growing. As they were achieving and hitting new milestones, I was going backwards. But one thing that they didn't consider, and one of the things that I didn't give myself enough credit to, is that I was building a strong foundation to build something much bigger, much greater than I ever anticipated. I just had to have the faith. I had to trust the process. And I was willing to work on all aspects of my life. I wasn't just focused on business. I knew that the game that I was playing seemed like much slower in the beginning, but now it seems like life is just happening in leaps and bounds. But it was years of laying that foundation. years of making sure that I put the appropriate deposits into my body, into my business, into my family, into my overall sense of purpose. Like, that's tough. Many people can just focus on one thing and excel, but can you sustain it long term? And listen, the feelings of jealousy, they were real. I felt like I was on the wrong game. Like, how is it that I'm not moving as fast as this person or that person? It was real. But in reality, I was just limiting my success. I was just limiting my ability to create something much bigger. In order to create this enterprise and this lifestyle and these feelings I couldn't describe back then, of fulfillment. Like, it's hard to describe how I'm feeling. It's hard to describe my life from 5 years ago. Like, me trying to describe it, what I can be 5 years ago, it would be very hard because I just didn't have any experience on that. Like a life full of purpose. But it started by making the necessary deposits into myself. I couldn't just get up and say, what's my overall purpose? Consider that your purpose is just to get better every single day. Consider that that's your only purpose. And what happens is your overall purpose of life becomes clear of what it is you're going to achieve in this world during the time we have allotted. And listen, like, it's a tough road. And I never said it was going to be easy, but I'm saying if you do the right things for yourself, like, the right things will be created in your life. Because you gain confidence, you gain faith, you get trust. These are all the things, the elements you need, the ingredients you need to actually build something much greater. So this vision alone of a new house, of revenues, of certain amount of money, whatever it is that you're looking for, a new vehicle, maybe it's something outside of that, like a happy marriage. It's impossible if you don't realize that vision is going to require more work from you, more investments from you. You can't move along on the same path at the same speed with the same knowledge and wisdom and get something much greater. It's just not possible. Discipline is what makes and allows you to gain a greater perspective of life in general. And this reminds me of the book, Think and Grow Rich. And this was one of the first books that I read as I was on this mission of self-development. Think and Grow Rich. And I remember in the first few chapters of the book, he described like some of the things that you should do in order to visualize what it is that you want. And I wrote some of these things down. And he starts, Napoleon Hill, he starts off by describing like desire, right? What is desire? And he mentioned that that's the starting point of all achievement, is to truly visualize and conceptualize and even like say out loud what it is that you want. Like saying something, I just want more money, it's not very clear. I want more happiness. I want a bigger business. Like, what does that actually mean? But truly visualizing what that is so important. And he says, create a statement of your desires, including what you want and what you're willing to give in return, and the timeline. Now, this is important to also have a timeline, and this is something that we have incorporated in our 12-week target book. We put down, like, this is a 90-day target. Like, we put a deadline of what it is that we want to create. And again, some things may take longer than we anticipate. Like there's that old quote, right? If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. It's one of these things where we can plan it out all day long, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen in the time frame. Will it happen? Yes, inevitably it will. Especially if that's the main driver of your thoughts and your actions. It's going to happen. It's only a matter of time. And the bigger the visualization, the more steps you take towards depositing towards that visualization, the faster it'll happen. But back to my phone, I have this whole process of actually just putting things down here that I envisioned myself getting. And this was back in 2022. And I had like 6 to 8 items. And this is something that I journaled. This is something that I verbalized. I conceptualized it in my mind. And then I put pictures together. Again, I'm not a, anti-vision board. It's going to happen board, right? It's only a matter of time board. It's the visualization of it, but truly coming from a place if this is what you desire, not because you're flipping through magazines that are like, oh, I want this. Oh, and I want that. It's like, no. It has to be started up here first. Then you find the evidence and the pictures and things of that nature to support that vision. Not as you flip it, oh, this seems like a good idea. I'll take this and I'll take that. No. What is it that you want first? And that's where it all started. It started here in my mind, and then it translated into verbal, and then it translated into a written form. And in that written form, I supported it with other things, just something that I could take a look at every single day, and I have it on my home screen on my phone. And this is already 2 years old, but guess what? The materialistic things that I wanted on here, done. The vacation that I've been planning for, it was a little different than what I anticipated, but it's been executed to the T. During that time, I still hadn't moved into my house. And I put a fully furnished home in my visualization. Happened. Then there's this one part, right, which is insane. I put a backyard. I actually, the planning for my backyard hadn't even been complete yet. Okay, the design aspect of it. And I just noticed this. But the fireplace and the patio is exactly what I have on this picture. The exact same thing. It's almost eerie. The exact same thing. And here's the crazy thing about it. I almost didn't remodel my patio. I almost didn't. Because I too get influenced sometimes by the negativity in this world. I too get afraid from time to time when people say the entire economy is going to fall apart. So when it came to my patio, I was like, let's just leave it the way it is. And, there was a couple conversations with people. My designer said, hey, listen, you're probably going to regret it if you don't. But I also had to consider how much more I had to spend and invest into it. But I did it anyway. And now I spend my time just looking at it. I'm so happy that I did it. And now that I look at this picture, I'm like, holy crap, this is the exact same. Even down to the beams. They're exactly the same. But this is the power of visualizing and having that faith, but also supporting it with action and understanding that with every vision comes an obstacle. I'm willing to get through it. I'm willing to get up early every day to prepare myself. It's part of the process. And I love, we have the Prime 3, and Isaiah said it best. It's like priming ourselves. I'm priming myself each and every day by making sure that I'm prepared for the battle, prepared for the fight, prepared for the glory. These are all things we need. Think and grow rich, right? Followed by action, followed by capacity to overcome. So again, it's crafting a statement of desire, including what you want and what you're willing to give in return, and the timeline by which you will achieve it. And again, I think it's important to have a timeline, but listen, don't get discouraged if you don't hit it by that timeline. I'm still in my 2022, but I'm also adding as I'm checking off items. I have a couple more things that I still have to achieve. And by the way, one of them was to have 300 plus agents within the organization. Cool. It took me a little bit longer than I anticipated, but it's occurring. Now it's the next step, the next visualization. Okay. I had things here regarding my big money brokerage coaching programs and my do the work coaching programs. It's in the pipeline. It's working. It's growing. As a matter of fact, I'm a visitor next week coming down, another brokerage owner that's going to be here with me for 2 days. And guess what? I have the knowledge, I have the wisdom, I have the experience to make sure I'm compensated accordingly. And it feels so good because I know my value and I know my commitment and I know it happened because I have that discipline. And that's something I developed. It's available to all of us. And that's why I continue to push this whole thought process of put your deposits in. Your prime 3, start there. Everything else will be answered. But if you can't get up to take care of you, you can't take care of your business. You won't be able to take care of your family. And I have a quote here. I'm on week 12 here on my 12-week target book. And it says, you have a vision bigger than the problem. Develop your mind and deliver what you feel in your soul. It's a constant growth aspect to what we do. And with that is like, okay, I have the desire, I have the vision in my mind. Okay, my thoughts are sometimes negative, but you know what? I have this vision that's going to pull me forward because I feel it in my soul, right? And one of the other steps is having faith. And there's 2 definitions of it that I found. One, the biblical definition is faith is considered a belief and trust in God based on evidence, but without total proof. Feeling that there's something much greater, that it's only a matter of time. Like faith is really just putting it out there that it's going to happen, right? But I think that has to be developed as well. Like right now, I know it's going to happen. If I think it, I'm going to create it. Before it was like, if I think it, well, it might not happen. Yes, it might. Forget about that vision. It was too big. Like I had so many things before I realized, oh, I created it. Now it's like, I have the vision. It's only a matter of time. I'm going to create it. But then there's a second definition that I found, complete trust or confidence in something or someone else. Okay. Complete trust or confidence in someone or something else. And as we start thinking about, the faith aspect of it, this is crucial. I mean, we all have the evidence that when you truly want something, you're able to achieve it. But it's got to be at the forefront of our thought processes. It's got to be something that you're constantly just obsessing over. And I'm going to read you a little something here that I wrote down. A third step to this is like influencing the subconscious mind by having these declarations, right? And this is something that I also have in the 12-week target book. And the more I look at this, I reflect on the books that I've read, I'm like, oh, I was influenced the entire way of putting this together, right? And having a clear path of what it is that you want, and then having a declaration behind it. And I wrote this: I am an 8-figure multimillionaire. Money is no object. I provide so much value that I average net revenues of $27,000 a day, 365 days a week. I do this without fail. I provide so much value that instills confidence in others. It raises the bar of their standards and actions. This equates to better people, better spouses, better parents, better business owners. Their wins motivates me to push the thresholds of my capacity. Now, when is that going to happen? I don't know. But every step that I take, the vision is more clear. Every step that I take, the vision is reinforced. Like, how is it that I cannot produce this? Like, it's only a matter of time. If I've already exceeded every expectation I've had for myself, how is it that this one here is not going to be possible? And it seems unreal sometimes. But yet, it's like I have evidence of everything that I've done. Evidence. And I'm documenting every step of the way through my 12-week target books, through what I post, through the things that I journal. Like, all of this is evidenced already. And it's nothing secret about it. It's not a sauce, right? it's not this formula that I just put together out of thin air. It's like a systematic approach to winning at life. And it seems unreal. I met with our designer about our backyard and our furniture. That's something that we decided to embark on, like I mentioned to you. And this is a 2-year process now with our home. I mean, we remodeled every aspect of our home. First of all, buying that home was way outside of what I thought was possible for me. And then the amount it took to actually remodel it from top to bottom was like mind-blowing. And now I'm in the conversation of completely doing my front and backyards where everything, and I mean everything, is being touched. Everything is being remodeled or just like constructed anew. So I'm meeting with my designer for furniture, right? And this is the first time I've ever done that as well. Usually I'm the guy that'll go to, if we ever have time, we'll go to like a Costco or Lowe's, Home Depot to try to pick up some furniture pieces. And that's not my biggest attribute of knowing like what it is that I like, right? I'm just like, okay, this will fit here or this will fit there. But this time it's really being designed with purpose, like, and I'm leaving it to the professionals, just like I did the first time. So I walk into her office and I see this big frame, huge frame, and it's got like magazine pictures and professional pictures, and it's my house in her office, right? So it's my house. And I'm like, is this real? Then she hands me a magazine. And within the pages, there's like an 8-page spread in this magazine, right? Which is nationwide distributed. And I take that home, and I finally got the opportunity to take a look at it yesterday. And I flipped to the page where my house is featured in there. And it's my living room. And as I'm sitting there on my couch, I'm looking at the same exact perspective where they took that picture from. So I'm looking at the picture, and I'm looking at my furniture. I'm looking at the picture, and I'm looking at all the details of my home. And I'm like, is this real? And it feels amazing. Carla and I went out for a great dinner, and we're just like in this space, and of just connection, great conversations. Now it's not like that all the time, because again, to grow, you got to face those challenges. But we faced some challenges here over the last few months, and but we know that our time together, our investment in ourselves and to each other is for something much greater. And we had an amazing time, and we spent a lot of time together this weekend, and it felt amazing. And again, it's like, is this real? We decided to get a little bit more dressed up than normally, right? On the jeans and maybe like a polo shirt or a dress shirt. We decided to dress up a little bit more, and I got to tell you, I felt good. I felt very confident in my attire. And again, it's this thought: is this real? I had great conversations with my daughters, and one of them, it's like I've prayed. I'm like, God, give me, patience, and this new level of awareness, right? And this is something I've constantly prayed for, is this patience, because I always felt like I was, on edge all the time. And I got to tell you, he blessed me with Madeline, my 14-year-old. And I'm learning how to become a better parent because of my daughters, both of them, in different ways. And, just the conversations we had, just to have the wisdom to have those type of conversations where they really get it. And again, it's this thought process, is this real? And discipline and having the right vision, I've learned in my own life that it does create a life that makes you question it, like, wow, things are really working. things are better than what I anticipated. But it's going to require us to make sure that we can taste it, smell it, envision it, right? Hear it and touch it. The five senses. And it begins like, what is it that you truly want? And being general about it, it's not going to get you there. And I'll tell you what, even though as much as I would like to have described how I feel, I don't think I could have, because I just never experienced that. But it feels powerful. It makes you feel powerful when you know things are firing on all cylinders. And listen, right now you might be in a position where people are flying by you. And it seems like what you're doing may not be the right things, but if you're doing it right, with the right intention, the right focus, and making the necessary deposits, it's only a matter of time. And the way I used to describe it is this, okay? I felt like I was driving around in a steamroller, right? And if you look at it from a side angle, let's say they're going from, like in my case right now, from east to west, right? It seemed like everybody else was like in this supercar, like just driving really fast by me, and here I am, just kind of slow and steady. And it felt like, man, I'm missing out. Look how far they've gone. But when you look at it from straight on ahead, you realize like the magnitude and the difference between the two, right? One has a small footprint of what they're building. It's really small. And they're using the road, right? They're using a road that will eventually end at some point. And a steamroller is building it. And it has a huge footprint. And it's compressing the grounds. It's laying the foundation for that road of that person that's driving on it to be at that level. And what I've realized is that footprint may seem slow, but man, it is a solid foundation. And at some point, like, your life will magnify by leaps and bounds. So what I need you to consider today is a few things. One, what is it that you truly want? Like, what is it? Like, be clear about it. Close your eyes and write it down. Like, what is it that you truly desire? Avoid general statements. What is it? What is it that you truly want? Then why do you want it? Why is it important you achieve those things? And how are you going to get there? Write down a game plan of exactly what it is you're going to do on a daily basis. How are you going to change your behaviors? What capacity and what skill sets and mindset are you going to build from that? And finally, what are you going to do about it when obstacles arise? Because with every new level comes that new devil. With every upswing, there is a downswing. So what is it that you're going to do when those challenges come? And how are you going to reinforce those thoughts on a daily? Write it out. I already told you, I let you in what's going on in my mind. Now, some of you may be witness to see it. And it may take a year. It may take 5. But I'm clear about what it is, because I know the value I will bring with that type of responsibility. So guys, I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. We have a great week ahead. We have only a few weeks here left to 2023. We got to start laying the foundation. There's great opportunities out there, and I'll leave you with this. Every month for the last 5 to 6 months, listings are increasing. Opportunities are all around us. From 4 months ago in July, there was an average of about 5,500 homes being listed on a monthly basis. In October, there were 7,338 listings. What opportunities have you missed, and what opportunities are there for you to achieve? Guys, again, I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye now. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.